Hi everyone, it's Miss Brenner. I hope you're all doing well and staying happy and healthy. I'm here to talk to you about your week 6 agenda. Remember that these assignments for week 6 are going to be due on March 8th at 8 a.m. So to start off with activity 1, we have our part 2 of our literary lens notes. We're going to be focusing on the new critical and the classist lens. So after completing the first ed puzzle that says literary lens notes part 2, you're going to open up these folders that do examples. The examples are within the videos as well, so make sure to answer the questions to the best of your ability. Then we have a creative writing assignment. Our creative writing for this week has 4 different writing prompts. We have write a story about a meeting of a secret society. You can write a story about someone looking to make amends for a mistake. You can write a story about a high school sweethearts coming across one another after many, many years apart, or write a story about someone going back to school as a mature student. You are also welcome to look at the weekly writing competition at this website. You are welcome to use any of their writing prompts, and then you would just copy and paste your submission, so that way I also get to read it. Alrighty, then for activity 2, we are going to be starting a short story unit in our course. This is going to be a technology science fiction short story unit. We are going to be looking at a couple different stories. We're going to be starting off with an ed puzzle that goes over the evolution of science fiction as a genre. And then we have a short ed puzzle about the Turing test and whether computers can pass for human beings. Once you have completed those 2 ed puzzles, you have your choice of 2 different stories for activity 2. So you will be choosing to either read Cat Pictures Please or Mika Model. Those are your 2 options. Cat Pictures Please does contain adult content. This story, although it is not graphic, does contain topics involving suicide, spousal abuse, and homosexuality. Now, once again, it is not graphic, but it does have to do with characters experiencing and going through different events involving those topics. So that feels to be too adult of a conversation for you and it makes you uncomfortable. You may want to consider reading Mika Model instead. Now, with that being said, both of these stories do involve different forms of adult content. This is a young adult course that is preparing for further education. So, Mika Model is more graphic. However, it is a lot more standard in how it is graphic. It has some violence. However, as you can see, we are talking about computers. So the violence is not what you might expect because it has to do with non-human entities. Also, along with that, Mika Model, also maybe you're catching on from the title with the word model, has to do with the female figure and form and the beauty of it. There is nothing that is graphic per se in the story. However, it does idolize the female figure. So if neither of those make you feel comfortable in reading, please contact me. I would be more than happy to find you another story. I do have another story option that links into another activity that we'll be doing this week. However, I really like to offer really unique stories to you as young adult readers, and I do find out of the 2 of those, I prefer Cat Pictures Please. I do think that it is a very interesting and entertaining story, and it has a new look on AI technology. With that being said, we do have an audio version of Cat Pictures Please. I prefer the one that is done through this magazine. So if you open up that link, it's going to take you to this website and you would just click here in order to be able to go and view and listen to Cat Pictures Please. The other option for Cat Pictures Please is through YouTube. I don't think the reading is as nice, but that's just my opinion. If you prefer YouTube, you can use that link as well. So once again, you are choosing one of these two stories or contacting me for a third option. Then for those two stories, we have a foreshadowing and literary lens chart. So once again, you're only choosing one of those two stories, either Mika Model or Cat Pictures Please, and completing the foreshadowing and literary lens chart for one of them, and then also completing a discussion. So your discussion will be focused on one of these two stories, and your discussion is going, is going to talk about how do you imagine the progression of AI technology to impact humanity? How does your vision have similar characteristics to your story choice, either Mika Model or Cat Pictures Please? Explain your vision and the comparisons. Are there elements of your story choice that you consider troubling in regards to advancements in technology? And can these issues be overcome? Use examples from the story to support your reasoning. And then the flip side to that statement, or are there elements that you consider enlightening and offer a glimpse of hope for the positive usage of technology that could aid the improvement of humanity? You would also use examples from the story to support your reasoning. Once you have completed your response for all of those questions, so you're going to answer all those questions in your discussion post, and then you're going to make sure that you use textual examples from the story to support your reasoning. You can also use evidence from the Edpuzzles about AI technology, and you need to meet a minimum of 10 sentences. After you have your initial post done, you're going to respond to one other student's initial post offering engaged and appropriate commentary on the reading and their opinions. Then for activity 4, we are shifting into another element of technology and scientific discovery based science fiction. We're going to be looking at the end of the universe, and we're going to talk a little bit about heat, death, and entropy through this Edpuzzle. We then have a short story that is called The Last Question. There is an audio option available through YouTube for The Last Question. And then we also have a discussion post. So The Last Question is certainly a very different take on the concept of what the end of the universe looks like. And I don't want to ruin anything. This story does not contain adult content. It is not graphic. There is really only one line that may frustrate you towards the end of the story. And if that's the case, that is perfectly fine. I just want to remind you that this is, a young adult course, and we are going to talk about things, and sometimes stories are going to upset you or frustrate you or make you very angry with the author themselves for writing it in that manner, and that's why we're having this discussion. Based on Isaac Asimov's evolution of the short story The Last Question, do you feel satisfied with the story's ending from a literary perspective? Do you find the growth of setting and characters interesting and engaging, as well as thought-provoking based on natural human curiosity of the world's end? Next question is, in comparison, based on your understanding of the rapid expansion of the universe, does the ending seem plausible? Could the universe really restart? Or is this just a natural human tendency to never want the universe to truly end? So with that question, remember this story is very unique, and so there will be some things that you may say are absolutely not plausible. But based off of your understanding of the Edpuzzle that we watched, I want to hear your opinions about entropy and heat death, considering this is a fairly new topic and there are no actually 100% correct answers. It is still something that is quite puzzling to humanity, and so I would love to hear what you guys have to say about it. Alrighty, so using evidence from the story as well as evidence from the Edpuzzle, that would be the Edpuzzle that's on the end of the universe, heat, death, and entropy, to explain your process of analysis throughout Isaac Asimov's writing, you're going to use the psychological lens to identify 3 examples of the author's tone towards humanity's greatest fears and frustrations involving the end of the universe and our place as human beings within this universe. So those are the questions that you are going to be answering and the tasks that you will be completing. After you have answered those with evidence from the story to support your opinion, you need to make sure that you meet a minimum of 10 sentences. After you've completed your initial post, you're going to comment on one other student's response and reflect on their understanding of the story and their analysis of the story's ending. This should be more than a comment telling them that they did a good job or that their analysis is very interesting. Remember, we are dealing with some questions that are very difficult and there are no perfectly correct answers at this time. This is still extremely new territory, even though this story itself is not all that modern. Alrighty, and then lastly, we have our silent reading reflection for this week. We are talking about author's tone. So what is the author's tone within a section of your reading? So I'm not sure what everybody's reading. Some people are reading nonfiction, some people are reading fiction, some people are reading novels, some people are reading comic books. But depending upon what you are reading, we are analyzing the author's tone. So how does the tone affect your understanding as a reader? The author's tone is going to be the writer's attitude toward a central topic. So most likely your author picked a central theme or topic because it matters a lot to them, and how does their nature of describing this topic affect you? So oftentimes the tone can be described using adjectives such as cynical or cheerful or saddened or outraged or sympathetic. There are lots of different adjectives, but we are talking about the author's tone and how that's impacting your mood as a reader. And then you're going to comment on one other student's discussion post about what they are reading. Alrighty, so those are all of our assignments for week 6. Remember, these assignments are due on March 8th at 8 a.m. We are over halfway through marking period 3 as of this point. So I hope you guys are all staying happy and healthy, and if you should ever need anything, please feel free to send me an email. I would be happy to help you. Bye, guys.